Hello, this is Tom Brewer, president of your Charlotte Firefighters Association, Local 660. I want to give everybody a quick update on what's going on. It's been a very busy day down here at the Union Hall. We've had additional Zoom meetings. Last night we had a Zoom meeting with the State Association. Today we had them with a candidate for the General President's position of the International with Malin Mitchell. It went well, and we're trying to schedule with Ed Kelly for the other Zoom interview on that. If you'd like to partake in them, let us know. We are going to open them up and invite everybody, and we encourage everybody to take an active role in your union, stay informed. The other thing we ended up doing today, we did an interview with WSOC. They had contacted us regarding staffing. I don't know if they got the information from our YouTube channel, which is fine with us. It's public. It's open for anybody to talk to. But they had reached out to us and asked us some questions about what was going on with mandatory overtime. So, our message is pretty consistent. For years, this local has said that matter of fact, we actually passed the resolution last year, if you remember, to end the practice of trading out positions. We have a staffing model where City Council approves allocated firefighter positions. There is nothing more important than what we do than having 4 on a truck. And that means we have to follow the staffing model to do that. Not saying these other positions aren't needed. Let me be clear on that and say it again before we start getting phone calls and say that, we're attacking staff positions and this, that, and the other. That is not what we are saying, sisters and brothers. We are saying we have to adhere to the staffing model because it was set up to prevent where we're at now with the cancellation of Kelly numbers and mandatory overtime. We are fully aware of COVID being a part of it, the reason why we're so short, but it is not the issue, the real reason why we are so short-staffed. This goes back for years, including the last several years where we have worked with this administration as well as council and city manager Marcus Jones and asked to end the practice of trading out positions, firefighter positions for staff positions. The reason it's so important is, granted, the majority of the time we have plenty of people to work, but there are times when we're not. But again, this is already, science tells us, one of the most stressful jobs in the world, between being away from our family, the sleep deprivation, what we see. The additional hours worked only add to that stress. And there is nothing more important than, again, the health and safety, including the mental health of our members. So when we tell people they may be held over, whether they're held over or not is kind of irrelevant. The fact is they can't make plans. When they're trying to make plans for Halloween or the upcoming holidays or, any night, and they're saying, well, can we do this or we cannot do that? And they have to tell their spouse, well, we're not sure. I'm on the holdover list. And it's just an added stress. I do want to commend the battalion chiefs again and the division chiefs for doing everything they can do to work around people's schedules and the plans they have. I've heard a lot of good stories about that, and I've seen it. So we do appreciate that, and we understand it. But regardless, staffing is an issue. It has been an issue, and a lot of this is self-created. We haven't hired enough people. We haven't kept up with staffing. We talked the other day, people asked us about, well, council did away with the overhiring. Sisters and brothers, we can't talk about overhiring until we get to allocated positions. So once we get to our allocated positions, then we'll talk about overhiring. Until then, if people are telling you that they can't meet staffing because council's not letting them do this, it's just not true. Again, get your facts, both sides of the story, and we'll give you our side as well. But we can't have overhires until we're actually at full staffing, and we're nowhere close to full staffing. So anyways, we did talk to the news about that. It was pretty painless, and it is what it is. Again, we are advocating for you. We are a firefighter first organization. everything we do is firefighter first. So that's what we talked about with the news as well. The other thing we did today was, I don't know if anyone was not on the meeting last Friday. We found out that the city of Charlotte settled another lawsuit regarding Rule 9, this time with CMPD officers. They had taken pretty much one of our previous lawsuits and kind of copied it, changed names, a little bit of the situations were different. But basically, it all came down to not following Rule 9. We are all tired of talking about Rule 9. We are going to continue to talk about Rule 9 until it is followed. It governs our promotional processes. Bottom line, if it was, we've heard people say, well, they don't have to follow it or it's not in effect. Well, why do they keep settling lawsuits then? We've all been around this profession long enough to know. We know that if the city thinks they're right, they'll dig their heels in and they'll go to court and if they believe they can win. When they know they can't win, that's when they settle lawsuits. Let me repeat that. They settled another lawsuit, this time with CMPD, for 3 officers, just like when they settled ours. There's more litigation coming because there's at least 3 other lawsuits filed. Follow Rule 9. The fire department, the city HR director said this year we were going to follow Rule 9. We did not follow Rule 9. Not only did we not follow Rule 9, somehow they managed to win a grievance that was 6 months. They prolonged it for 6 months based on Rule 9, and somehow they miraculously win the grievance, but yet every time attorneys get involved, they settle. We all know what's going on here. They're not following Rule 9. It's not being followed, and they wouldn't have to settle. So unfortunately, until we get a HR director, a city manager, and an HR director, and a command staff for CFD that wants to follow the rules, we are going to be on this perpetual treadmill. So the next thing we are going to ask, so we did ask today for city council to hold up on all promotional processes just until the city attorney offices weigh in. Now, the reason we did that wasn't to stop anybody from getting promoted. It was to prevent further litigation and to make sure the process is done right. They are obviously not doing it right or they wouldn't keep settling. So until we know we're doing it right, let's stop all promotions so someone else doesn't have to sue. Every one of you, everyone on this department is entitled to a fair promotional process based on merit, and the rules should be followed. They are there for a purpose. We are also going to go back to council, and we need all your help on this one, to ask that they promote every firefighter 1 that participated in the firefighter 2 process, because we did not follow Rule 9. Not saying you can't have a process, but if you can't follow your own rules, don't ask firefighters to follow the rules. There can't be double standards. They're supposed to set the example at the top. They should all be held to the same standard. So let's move on. So the city attorney, after I sent that all to council, it wasn't 5 minutes later, 10 minutes later, maybe 10 minutes. The city attorney responded and said that he was going to release the Parker Poe report on Rule 9. Again, just like the HR task force, we are very guarded on anything that comes out. What speaks the most volumes is the fact they settled. So they can take this report, just like they did the HR task force, and spin it and, delay, defend, deflect, and they'll use it for justification for all their wrongdoing and for all their manipulation. But the bottom line is they continue to settle lawsuits, and we're going to continue to fight for fair promotional processes. Just like we said last time, we are going to be cautiously optimistic and hope for the best when it comes to the release of this report. But we're also very well aware of how it normally goes down, very cognizant of how city government works. And we're guarded that they're going to use this again to justify it or try to spin it or parse their words to somehow they were right. But don't forget, they settled. They don't settle when they're wrong. So I'll quit beating that horse for a little bit. But we know there's a lot of frustration going on in the fire department. We hear it from, brothers, sisters of all ranks. Again, firefighters, captains, battalion chiefs, engineers. With the staffing, the promotional processes. When it comes to the staffing, we have made several recommendations over the years, including this year. Before we get to mandatory overtime, we feel the city should look at selling back vacation, incentivizing it, buying back vacation, get people to turn it in, offer some things like that to encourage people, to come to work and maybe cancel their vacation with a financial incentive. It would be cheaper than hiring back. It would add less stress on the body and the mental toll on those firefighters. And that's really what it's all about. But we have to start looking at some out of the box ways of doing it. We can't keep doing the same thing and expecting different results. So if you have any suggestions, we've also had it brought to us about, doing the hire backs well in advance. And I'm sure hopefully they're looking at everything, but we will continue to make recommendations to the HR director, the command staff, as well as city council. And we will update you guys again once the city manager reports back to us on V-Hall. Over a month ago, he promised us additional meetings and a city attorney's report on V-Hall. We are still waiting on that. Delay, defend, deflect. That's the three things this city has down to a T. That's why we need to come together. We need to get all members to get active, all non-members to join, and we need to stand together and speak up for ourselves, brothers and sisters. Stay safe, stay strong, stay union.